All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll call to order our regular meeting of August 5th. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
He's here somewhere.
Commissioner Beck,
Will be absent.
Commissioner Chauncey, Commissioner Eversaw,
Here.
Commissioner Graham,
Here.
Commissioner Helton,
Here.
Dr. Highlander,
Here.
Dr. Mackey,
Here.
Commissioner Sharp,
Here.
Commissioner Shipley.
Here. Our invocation and pledge will be by Commissioner Sharp. Please rise.
Dr. Highlander, Dr. Steve Highlander is going to give the invocation, and then I'll lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. Let's pray. Great God in heaven, we thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon us. Lord, I thank you for this county, this state, and this country. Lord, as we come to this time of decision making, Lord, let your wisdom be with every voter and with every elected official. Thank you, Father, for being our guide and the one who shows us the way that we need to go. Lord, in all things, help us to honor you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. If you face the flag, render the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We do have one presentation on the agenda for today, Job in the Neighborhood presentation. Commissioner Sharp, I believe this was by your request. Would you like to make an introduction for us, please?
Yes, Chairman, the men and women of the Central Labor Council had approached me for this presentation, and I was glad to oblige to discuss the benefits of hiring local for jobs that we or projects that we're working on here in our local community. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Commissioner Sharp.
Just your name and address, if you would, for the record.
My name is Patrick Kate, and I'm here on behalf of the Chattanooga Area Central Labor Council. And just go ahead.
Yep, you're
Okay.
good. I'm going to go up here and look at my.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Commissioners. Thank you so much for having me up here today. Thank you, Chairman Ken Smith, for allowing us to bring this presentation to y'all. And what I think really is valuable and compelling information that is important to not just the labor community, but all of Chattanooga and all of Hamilton County, broadly speaking. So I'm going to walk us through a very humble presentation to share that story with y'all. So yeah, just as a quick breakthrough, what we're going to walk through, just introduction of the topic, some of the background for Hamilton County, then the study itself, and the conclusions and next steps. So who we are, like I said, we're the Chattanooga Area Labor Council, and also want to make sure we include the National Association of Building Trades, which also has a local affiliate here who co-commissioned this study with us. And we represent the union members of Chattanooga, as well as all working people in Hamilton County. And we represent over 10,000 workers in the area. And then our other partner in this project was the Gary Rollins College of Business, located at UTC. Located within their College of Business is the CRER, the Center for Regional Economic Research. And they take commission studies, data, or economic impact studies and various types of research. And we've liked working with them. They're a nonpartisan group, so we feel confident in the value of their data. Okay. I know y'all all know this about Hamilton County and Chattanooga, but just some background that I think is relevant for the topic. There's around 291,000 eligible and or working people in the greater metro statistical area. 1 in 2 of those working people are skilled. There's over 50 registered apprenticeships in the area. And this work is always ongoing. There's public and RFPs are ongoing. As a recent snapshot says, government sources listed 551 open contracts in Hamilton County for bid or award. And unemployment is relatively low, but that's still a large chunk of people that we, of course, would like to see employed if they are able to be employed. So a bit about why local hire matters. This is the sort of takeaway that I want people to walk away from, which is that local hire initiatives aren't just feel-good policies. They produce measurable economic gains for local governments and communities following a simple formula: local workers plus business equals growth. Okay, now we're digging into this study. This study analyzed the economic impact on Hamilton County, Tennessee of commercial construction projects under different levels of local versus non-local labor use and whether or not the contractor for the project is local. Sounds very convoluted there. When we get to the piece, it's actually really straightforward. So a really important piece for understanding all this is something called the economic impact model. It's the model that the researchers use to basically look at a community and see how economic value moves in and outside of that community. It makes a couple of assumptions. And I really harp on the model because it's really how we feel like the arguments being made by the data about why local hire is important. But it basically is just a model for tracking how money flows through an economy after an initial investment or spending is made. So for like a development project, construction project, it measures how that spending creates additional economic activity and is premised on the idea that local workers spend more money than non-local. Pretty intuitive idea. If you live here, you're going to spend money on things not just related to the job. You have a family, just things as simple as groceries that you may spend. Impacts the community, those local workers. And a few of those major factors that go into that I'm going to explain in just a second are the multiplier effect, direct impact, indirect impact, induced impact, and leakage. Multiplier effect, it's really just taking that intuitive idea that we all know about spending money in the local economy and sort of modeling it so we can actually look at it in a more scientific way. But it's basically the idea that when someone spends money, the person that they spent money to also goes and spends that money further down the line. And obviously, if those people are local, you would expect those effects to stay more local. The total impact depends on how much money stays in the local economy versus leaks out through imports, savings, taxes, or non-local consumers. Ooh, a little too fast there. Okay, and then this is the economic impact model. And so there's direct impact, which we all know is the big splash of money we spend on a project. And that's going to be things like supplies and wages for labor. This is the initial investment. The second is indirect impact, which is the money that business will then go spend directly on that project. So supplies, other things that are related to it. So that's indirect. So it's the money that is indirectly being spent from the initial investment. And then the more important concept for the argument we feel like is being made here is the induced impact. And that's the business that is being induced by local workers being paid and spending that money locally. So it supports the community more directly. So I think that's pretty straightforward. So when I go into the data that's saying, X amount of money is saved versus non-local, this is how it's making that calculation. It's assuming that local people are using induced impacts that drive additional business in Chattanooga, which means growth and tax receipts. One last thing, I've gone over this study a lot with a lot of people, and we have to explain. I know all of you maybe know exactly what a job year is. A lot of people didn't know what a job year is, so I'm going to assume you don't know what it is. And it's basically a way of sort of non-standard, although construction is not non-standard, but non-standard work that doesn't line up with the perfect work year, how you evaluate jobs like that when you're doing economic modeling. Because there's still lots of work, it's just not turning into a full-time job that you would see extend past the life of the project. And it's really simple. You just tally up all the total work hours that is spent on a given project. You divide it by the number of work hours in a year, which is 2,080, if you ever want to know that. And that's how you calculate your job years. So it's giving a single number to kind of tease out what's the equivalent of long-term jobs, even though these aren't technically long-term jobs. So that's an important marker that the researcher used. Okay, now let's get into the results, and we're almost done. So it calculated the differences in economic impact when the non-local versus non-local split was 100% versus 25%. So all that's saying is that it looked at the difference when the contractor, whether or not they're local or not, although they're likely not local, but that's irrelevant. It's the percentage of the people that they're employing to do the work. So either they're 100% local or they're only 25% of that workforce is local. And then the additional scenario he looked at is if the proprietor or the contractor is local versus non-local. And the findings are pretty straightforward. And when you use all local labor, you produce around 50% more job years versus 25% local labor. Same with GDP, 23% more GDP or economic growth is created when you use 100% local labor versus 25%. And there's a 12% increase in tax receipts over local labor. So just kind of walking through an example, what does that look like? Let's say we spent $10 million in a construction project. Well, that's going to be 23 job years. If you use 25% local labor, and then it's going to be around 34 and a half job years, or around 50% more jobs. Again, $14 million in GDP versus the 11.5 on 25% local, and then there's a 12% increase over in taxes for as compared when using 25% local labor. And then this is just a simple scenario of what happens when the proprietor on top of that is also local. And then assuming that a local contractor will hire local labor, they're going to create an additional $8,768 in GDP growth, or sorry, that's in taxes, over $1 million in local GDP, and an additional 7.8 years in job years. I just picked an example out of the paper so I could apply these same numbers. I know this didn't end up going through, but the Hamilton County recently pursued a development project at McDonald Farms, and you do the math. If they used 100% local labor, it would be 62.7 million GDP as opposed to the 51 million non-local. And then additional growth for, let's see, what is this? This is tax receipts. I can't see from over here. Oh, and we missed job years. So and again, significant difference. I think that was 50% in job years. So again, why local hire matters. Local hire initiatives aren't just feel-good policies. They produce measurable economic gains for local governments and communities following a simple formula. Local workers plus business equals growth. This is the same slide I used earlier because I think this is the important takeaway from what we learned, that local workers plus business equals growth. These are suggested next steps that aren't all directly related to this, but I think they would all help what we looked at. Have a public procurement database where we can just look at all procurement. Working on this project, I would have loved to have had that. And also an annual local economic impact report. If we could take a look at the economic impact of perhaps projects that we spent more than $10 or $20 million, we could get a better sense of how that money's trickling down into the economy. Improve decision-making, have a contractor and apprenticeship database. As far as I know, that doesn't exist. And there's a lot of both of those. So we would like to make it easier to connect those. A procurement oversight board, which would help in determining how these procurement processes are made. And ultimately, we would like to see as a mandatory local inclusion in bid process. That doesn't mean that we're mandating that we use local employers, but we would like to see that they are at least included in the conversation. And then improve data collection. It's hard for us to tell exactly where workers work when we spend money that ultimately ends up in their pocket. We don't know if they're in Hamilton County, Bradley County, or Cheatham County. I don't know how feasible that is. It may be really, really difficult to determine that, but I think just in something we came across would be helpful. And that concludes my presentation. I thank you again so much for allowing me to come up and share. I hope people see the value that we have already here in Hamilton County, and it can help us solve a lot of problems that we hadn't even considered in viewing this solution as a possible way of raising revenue for the county. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hold just
Oh,
1 minute.
yes.
We do have a couple of lights, so I'd like to allow for some questions.
Oh,
Commissioner
yeah,
Mackey?
sure. And just to be clear, I'm not the professor who conducted it, so I'll do my best to answer.
Oh, no, you're on the spot now.
Okay.
All right. Commissioner Mackey?
I do stand by it.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't get your name. Patrick?
Kate.
Kate?
Kate, yes.
Hey, Mr. Kate, I want to tell you that I am an unabashed, strong supporter of unions.
Amen.
I'm no longer with the UAW. I come off the assembly line of 3 different Chrysler plants back in Detroit, and
Wow.
I know the value of people working together. I see the superintendent back there. He's not going to like me saying this. I wish the teachers in Hamilton County would organize for their own benefit. And in regards to the value you bring, you had the data right there when you showed us the impact that if we had you guys, what was that, 100? It was a significant difference in those numbers.
I think the job years is probably the most significant, 50% more job years
Yeah.
locally. Yeah.
So don't be a stranger. Come back. You're among at least one friend. I support you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner McEnany.
Commissioner Shipley.
You got two friends. I like everything you said.
Oh, awesome.
Great job.
Thank you, sir.
Like Mac as a union man, my whole life.
Mm.
But I was a contractor. Now who you need to be talking to is these builders out here.
Mm.
These big track builders that bring people in from all over
Mhm.
the country to build their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Take their money out of here and never spend a dime.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you, sir. Just briefly, I think we all appreciate what you say. We all realize the value of hiring local people to do local jobs and keep the money in the local economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Mr. Kate, thank you for the presentation. I enjoyed seeing it again, and you presented it very well. You have another friend up
Yeah,
here.
great.
I'm a proud supporter of labor. Labor unions built the middle class in this country.
Mm.
And over the last 40, 50 years, that's been deteriorating with labor unions. As they deteriorated, the middle class has deteriorated. And I'm glad to see that labor is growing stronger, particularly in southeastern United States. And I hope to continue to see that. And you have a friend in this commissioner. I believe a 20% return on investment, basically, just for
Mhm.
hiring local labor
GDP.
for local communities.
Mhm.
That's pretty strong. I think anybody would appreciate that.
Mhm.
And, as we move forward with various procurement initiatives, I don't think that's a bad ask.
Mhm.
Just asking that local laborers be included in all procurement requests. Just being at the table and therefore as an option. That ought to be a simple ask, I think. We should be able to talk through that and figure it out here before long, I believe. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being patient. I know you've wanted to be here
It's all right.
sooner than this, but we got it together. Chairman, thank you for putting on the agenda. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll see more of you. Thank you.
Love it.
All right. Thanks, sir. Thank you, Mr. Kate.
Thank you. Thank you so much, commissioners.
All right. Moving on to minutes meeting entered and recorded for July 15th, 2026 agenda meeting and the July 15th, 2026 regular meeting. I've got a motion to approve in a second. I've got a motion by Commissioner Eversol, second by Commissioner Highlander. Lights, standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yeah,
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have 3 reports to enter into the record.
We'll file those, Chairman.
Thank you. Takes us to resolutions. Madam Clerk, please read 826-1.
Resolution 826-1, a resolution to approve and accept applications for notary public positions, the bonds and oaths of notaries previously elected, the oaths of judicial commissioners, and the oath of chief judicial commissioner.
Motion approved. Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Highlander. Lights, standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
yes,
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-1 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-2.
Resolution 826-2, a resolution recognizing the accomplishment of Tyner Academy in winning the 2026 Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association State Men's Track and Field Championship and awarding funds from the Hamilton County Schools Champions Fund for the purchase of championship rings.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Sharp, second by Commissioner Highlander. Lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-2 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-3, please.
Resolution 826-3, a resolution approving the dedication and naming of the Shackleford Ridge Park Pavilion in memory of Patrick Daverson.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Mackey. Lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-3 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-4, please.
Resolution 826-4, a resolution making an appropriation to East Hamilton High School in the amount of $1,500 from general fund travel discretionary monies as allotted to District 7.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Mackey, second by Commissioner Shipley. Lights, no one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-4 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-5, please.
Resolution 826-5, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Hamilton County, Tennessee, authorizing the creation and appointing the directors of the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Eastridge, Tennessee.
Move to approve.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Mackey, second by Commissioner Shipley. Lights, when standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-5 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-6, please.
Resolution 826-6, a resolution to approve the proposal from U.S. Bank National Association to provide certain financial services, including the processing of cash disbursement, accounts payable, and procurement card transactions for an initial period of 5 years with optional annual renewals thereafter, to authorize the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution, and to amend the fiscal year 2027 general fund revenue budget in the amount of $240,000 and expenditure budget in the amount of $60,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Baker. Commissioner Mackey, I see your light, sir.
Can Mr. Bronner come to the mic and elaborate on what he's proposing here?
Mr. Browner?
Sure. We are looking mainly to change our processing of cash disbursements. Right now, we've been writing checks for all our disbursements. If we process through if we contract with U.S. Bank, they will process them electronically for us through ACH transactions. They'll process our procurement card transactions, and we'll be able to earn rebates from them due to the way that they have contracts with a lot of these vendors. U.S. Bank, and again, it seems unusual, and we were very pleasantly surprised by it, but U.S. Bank is the largest processor of electronic disbursements for governments in the country, and they've gone through our list of vendors, and they have verified that they will be able to generate an additional rebates for us of that amount. And the cost for their service will be about $60,000 a
Okay.
year.
So, one, the system as it is.
No, the system we've been using works just fine of processing checks. It's how we've used it. We had a committee that we set up to look at modernization of some of our procedures, taking more advantage of digitalization procedures, and this seems to be a much more efficient manner of processing our cash disbursements and our procurement card transactions.
The U.S. Bank, is this a federal bank or just a bank with the U.S. name?
Well, it's the national bank or international bank, I guess, of US Bank that does, it's not just a local branch, it's the, um, yeah, the nationwide entity entitled US Bank.
Okay, and then finally, did you say we'll get a rebate for letting them do this work for us?
Yes, through the vendors that we deal with, for use of either procurement cards or payments through ACH, contracts that they've got set up through these vendors. So yes, we will be receiving rebates for disbursements that we make. Again, it's not a huge amount, but it's $240,000 more than what we're getting today.
And I thought I was done, but you just said something. Are we going to give cards to more county workers? Is that what I heard you imply?
No, we've got a procurement card system now. Basically, it goes through Truist Bank and it has served us really well for probably the last 15 years or so. The thought would be that upon adoption of this resolution, those who have Truist procurement cards will soon be issued new procurement cards with the name US Bank.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be brief. Can I speak to Lee?
Please.
Lee, thank you for this. I know you all worked very hard on this and you're always working on something to save the county money, and I greatly appreciate that. But to sum it up, and we had a very long discussion in the last meeting about this, but to sum it up, you're talking about this company modernizing what we do by far than what we're doing already, saving us money by modernizing it and making us even more efficient than we are right now. Even though we are efficient now, it makes us even more efficient than we are, correct?
That is correct. And they'll also increase our security because they will assume all responsibility for any fraudulent ACH electronic transactions. Whereas right now, again, we have been fortunate of not having much, very limited amount of check frauds that we've had. Now, US Bank will assume the liability for any of that may come up in the future.
Thank you, Lee. Security was my last part because I remember you telling us about that when we discussed this in the last meeting. So thank you again, and thank you, staff, and thank you for all the people that worked on this. Thank you for bringing this to us. I'm a supporter. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further lights, no one standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey.
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol.
Yes.
Commissioner Graham,
Yes.
Commissioner Helton.
Yes.
Dr. Highlander.
Yes.
Dr. Mackey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp.
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley.
Yes.
Chairman Smith.
Yes, 826-6 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-7, please.
Resolution 826-7, a resolution authorizing the county mayor to enter into and execute a real estate purchase agreement and all closing documents necessary to purchase approximately 8.5 acres of property for future park space and to negotiate and execute a nominal license agreement for approximately 1.72 acres to be reserved for future parking lot development, all located in Appleton, Hamilton County, Tennessee, from Appleton Baptist Church for the purchase price of $1,250,000 plus all associated closing costs.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Commissioner Helton, second by Commissioner Graham, and I've got a number of lights. Commissioner Eversol.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know who to direct this to. As far as negotiation, who did the negotiations on this piece of property?
Commissioner Eversol, Mike Kirk, Director of Property Management. I'm not aware of the negotiation process. We were approached with interest in a property. Real Property was approached with an interest in one parcel. They proceeded to check into that, which kind of yielded an asking price for that property. And so I'm not aware of any negotiation. This was an asking price that actually wound up being, they did have an offer that was $50,000 above that price that we matched. So as far as the negotiation on that, I'm not aware of any negotiation beyond that, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk. One of the questions I have on it, and that you and I talked, I mainly want to get on the record is, I guess there's a home that's on this property, and I guess the county's looking at maybe selling the home and the property the home is on to try to recoup some of this. Is that?
There is, Commissioner, there is about a 2,000 square foot home. I believe it was or is a parsonage currently. And as I understand, there's discussion and the possibility of being able to do something with that, either to use for county purposes or to potentially parse off, sale to recoup some of the funds. That's what I understand.
Okay, because I just want to make sure that's part of the record, because believe it or not, when you talk about parks and so forth, I've got more phone calls, I guess, the last few days over this than about anything. So, thank you, Mr. Kirk. That's all I need. Thanks, sir.
Commissioner Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not sure who to ask this of, but maybe Lee. The vast majority of this money is coming out of Parks and Rec Fund. Is that correct, Mr. Brunner?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked that question because it was covered at the agenda session a couple of weeks ago.
Correct.
There has been a change to the resolution that I've brought up to a couple of the commissioners and to the chair. The funding for this $1,250,000 is going to come, $200,000 is going to come from the fund balance of the general fund. The remainder will come from the 2024 bond fund proceeds that had been previously discussed with you going towards recreation projects. That will basically run that fund out of available monies for recreation projects. And then the remainder basically the split is going to be fund balance, 200,000, the 2024 A bond fund, $426,000. And then the remainder will come out of recreation capital outlay funds for fiscal year 2027.
We discussed, as Commissioner Eversole said, we discussed selling the pastorium with the property attached. And I've been told that it would probably be valued at about $400,000. Would it be appropriate for me to make an amendment, Chairman, that if we do sell that property, that we put that money back into the general fund, rather than lower our debt base, put it back into where it would be? I'm not sure where we would have. Do we have an earmark for where that money would go when it is sold?
Well, when and if the property is sold, it will come back to this body. And one of the items in the resolution will be for you to allocate where those funds will go towards. So you will, I think it's probably premature, in my opinion, to do that now, because it will definitely come up to you if the option to sell occurs.
Okay. Well, I would definitely like to see it sold and some of the funding alleviated from the county's budget, not dig further into the county budget. I think it's a good program. I like it, but I'd like to see if we could sell that. I think it should be our goal to sell that and put the money back in the county coffers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sharp?
Thank you, Chairman. That's not what I was going to say, but I tend to agree with Commissioner Highlander. I think that's a good proposal. And if a resolution would come with a potential sale of that property, with direction as to where you want it to go, I don't see why is there any reason why I don't know if I can ask the attorney, is there any reason why we couldn't just go ahead and send it to the fund balance? And if somebody wants to spend more money, they can ask to spend it out of the fund balance. Does that make sense? Is what I'm saying making sense?
Madam Attorney?
If you're asking whether that can serve as an amendment to this resolution, legally it can.
Okay.
There's no prohibition against that.
But I believe we would still probably we would still see a
You would s-
resolution to approve the sale.
You would still have to vote on it
Right.
later, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that idea. I feel like a lot of times we have resolutions come with like, this gives the commission a little bit more say, I believe, in it. Commissioner Highlander, if you wanted to make that motion, I would be happy to second it, or I can make the motion if you wanted to second.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'd make a motion that if we decide to sell that property, that the proceeds from the sale would go back into the fund balance.
Second.
Proceeds as in 100%, or
Yes.
did you have, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I still have a few lights. I'm
Well, hold
gonna-
on, I wasn't quite finished yet. I
Yep.
appreciate you though. Give me just 1 second. Let me get my bearings here again. I just want to say I appreciate this resolution coming for us. I've gotten quite a few calls about it too, people questioning the amount of money that we're spending on parks, with a lot of concern about it, when we have so many other needs. But you know, contrary to popular belief in some parts of the county, I think it's important that we provide recreational opportunities in communities, particularly that are growing and developing new housing. We need to have options there for those families to recreate, and the kids to play ball, et cetera. I think this is a good thing, and I will support the resolution. There's so many opportunities. I'm gonna hold the rest of it back. For a little while later, because there's going to be another opportunity to speak. But our commissioner from District 6, I'm glad that you found this or 7. I'm 6 from 7 that found this opportunity and brought it for us to help serve that community.
Good, sir. Commissioner Mackey.
Thank you, Chair. Have a couple of questions. One, the cost per acre for this property, what is it looking like it's going to be?
Do you want to answer? Sure. Commissioner Hill.
Happy to. If we offload the parsonage and a portion of the land around it, kind of based on what it's valued at, about $100,000 an acre. There was interest from a home builder. It's already rezoned to R2, so they could build duplex style townhomes once sewage capacity was available without our approval. It's perfectly flat, so they wouldn't have to move much dirt. They could just go right on in there. So it seemed like the market price for it was $100,000 plus per acre, just because it's such a easy build for someone else.
Okay. Mr. Chair, can I ask Josh Branham, a real estate guy, a question?
Mr. Branham likes to be called out on the spot and doesn't mind being held to a 30-second answer. We'll let him come on up to the mic.
You know, Mr. Branham, as you come, my question's going to be, when you look at Hamilton County property values, would you think this dollar amount is in line with what property in Hamilton County is worth?
Thank you, Commissioner Mackey. I would say that I am not prepared to answer that question. I can do some research for you though, but as far as acreage, I'm not as familiar with that. Predominantly, we look at the residential and commercial parcels themselves. But I can check into that for you. It would just take me a little bit of time.
Thank you. I don't know who brought this resolution. How critical is it that we take action today?
Commissioner Hilton, you want to address that previous question, that one?
Yeah, I'd like to. A follow-up on valuation, just a little further down the road. There's a 53.5 acre parcel that does not lay well. It has a wet weather branch going through it that eats up a lot of the acreage. It's listed at $4.5 million. and it's on a ridge, so the usable space is considerably less. I mean, that kind of gives you a gauge of, what it should be price per acre, right? Or at least where the market's at. There were also, as I said, 2 developers who had bid in where we were at. So the price per acre. And what was your question, the second one, sir? What,
Commissioner Mackey, you had a
a
second
follow-up
question there.
How critical is it that we act on this resolution today?
Well, I think because they do have a backup offer, I think it's rather critical. The actual parcel is in Commissioner Eversole's area, but it services primarily the area that I represent. We all have pretty close to an equal population. We have 2 little areas of park that service my entire area. We've got the East Brainerd ball fields. They have 10 diamonds, 5 pickleball courts. And then we have Heritage Park, which is a wonderful community park, and we've voted to put some money into that. And you go back, Commissioner Beck is not here tonight, but his area is kind of adjacent to mine. I'm going to run through a litany of what is in that area. You've got Readout, 10 soccer fields, Brainerd Golf Course, Shepherd Fitness Park, the Levee, which is just a walking path, but it serves as a piece of infrastructure, the headway to River Park, 11 tennis courts at Brainerd Rec, the Brainerd Rec area that has a public pool, basketball courts, Belvoir Park, Belvoir Place Park, Brainerd Community Park, Lakeside Park with 4 ball fields. And this is a similar population area, right? What we represent, different communities, but and you have Enterprise South, which can only be entered through that area, and we just put 125,000 into that park. I think it's critical.
Yeah, I'm about done. Somebody said trust but verify. Oh, my bad. Come on, man. But, Commissioner Hilton, I have watched and studied you over the years, and I've come to a position of believing I can trust your word, so I'm going to be okay with this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Graham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very much excited about this. I'm very much gonna support this, and I tell you why. It's because whether we sell the parsonage or not. Well, let me ask my question first. This amendment? I realize it directs where the money goes, but that's only if we sell the parsonage. We can use if it turns out that we need the parsonage for like a rec center or for something that the county can benefit that park. Then it won't be sold, correct? I mean, we're going to study that.
I don't, at least my understanding in discussions is it's not been programmed yet. If it's possible to sell it to do what we want to do and offload it to recoup the money, I think that's a great idea to help program the park.
Yeah, I don't mind that either, but I'm just saying if we
Or
can
put it
use
back in the
that.
general fund.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is I just don't think, I mean, instead of building like a rec center, if that building is already available for a rec center, like what's in Heritage Park, that's what I was curious about. But no, I'm supporting this because I'm a firm believer in these parks. I mean, the good Lord's not making any more property.
Sure.
And as I brought to you all's attention the last meeting, there's a piece of property on the side of Missionary Ridge that's been deemed a farm park. But that's an opportunity to do the same thing. There's a piece of property there that we can help the city acquire and put it into good use for that community that is underserved with parks. And it'll help us to preserve the land, but also give something of much value to the community. So I was just bringing that to your attention.
Yeah, and just a follow-up. This is not a heritage park type house that could be really retooled. This is a single family home. It's a ranch style house. I went out there with a mutual friend of mine and Commissioner Highlander and Commissioner Eversole, and we kind of looked everything over and kicked the tires. And in reality, it would be a shame to bulldoze something like that. probably appropriate to just offload it and recoup the money.
And I'm very much okay with that. I just want us to be sure that we go slow enough to where we can study that and make sure that we didn't need it for anything.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Chauncey.
Thank you, Chairman. We're talking about real estate, so I thought I'd just chime in a little bit. I did come out and see the property when we had the press conference out there, and I canvassed over it, and I do, it does seem on the surface that the price per acre might be a little high. However, it's obviously zoned high density right now, and that's obviously something that the community doesn't want. And I think it is essential that we do carve out green spaces right here in the heart of where it's at. And one thing that hadn't been mentioned, that it's located right adjacent to a fire hall and EMS station. And how convenient would that be when you got kids out here on the playground playing ball and just having something like that kind of cohesively, together there, which I think that would make the property more value for what we want to use it for. So I'll be supporting it, and thank you for bringing it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Highlander.
Thank you, Chairman. I have been in that home several times in years past. I've had 2 or 3 former pastors of that church that were friends of mine, and it's a good comment, Commissioner Graham, but it would not be appropriate for a rec center. But that would be, to me, the best means of recouping, not taking more money out of the county funds, but yet supporting this program, which I am supporting it. But I think if we could sell that property, I'd say it's probably built maybe in the 70s. I'm guessing it's in good shape. But if it brought $400,000, that would put money back in the county funds we could spend for whatever we deem necessary. Thank you. Oh, I will say too, that is a high cost area. There are a lot of really nice new homes out there. So that property is very valuable. It's not cheap property out there. It's not cheap acreage property. So we're not really paying, I don't think we're paying a whole lot for it. We are paying a whole lot for it, but it's the going price. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, did you have a comment, sir?
I just thought I'd clarify. I think, I feel like I can clarify many of your questions by explaining that it was not our intention to buy the home. Commissioner Helt and I have been familiar with this property, as many of you have if you're familiar with Appleton, because as Commissioner Chauncey pointed out, it is immediately in front of the Volunteer Fire Hall, which the county owns. It is immediately adjacent to the very modest park that the county owns and operates out there. It's flat. It's adjacent to the former school that is operated as a ministry. So we're familiar with a piece of property. Piece of property was listed for $750,000. I think there has been some hearsay as to why the county is offered and we've brought to y'all for approval a purchase price of $1.25 million, because we intended and desired to acquire only the land that was originally listed for $750,000. When we inquired, and Lynn Mansfield, our property manager, real property manager, reached out to the real estate agent on my behalf to say we would prefer to buy that, to make an offer on that piece of property. She said, after contacting Lynn, talking to the agent, that the owners of the property had received an offer for both the parsonage and the property, and that they, at this point, which is reasonable, they would only sell it. They would only be interested in an offer for both. So they told us if we're interested in it, we would have to buy both. We offered $1.2 million. They came back to us either later that day or the next day and said, they sent us a redacted counter offer from the other bidder for $1.25 million. And we told them we will offer $1.25 million, but that's the end of it. We don't want to play any games. And they accepted that. And then, just about the next day is when it was brought to commission, which I think speaks to Dr. Mackey's question around the timeliness. They were moving very fast. They had an offer. It was going to end up probably being 30 homes. We didn't think that was ideal. We certainly do believe it's a conservation opportunity, but it cost more than we wanted it to cost. The good news is we've got a very marketable 2,000 square foot home that we do believe is worth at least $400,000. So that's the math. This probably ends up being a net acquisition cost of about $850,000, which gets us back close to what we were comfortable with. And that's what I think members of the public saw. And that was this $750,000 piece of raw land. And the reason it went higher is because the church that owned it all received an offer for both, which compelled them to only want to sell it all together. Is that helpful?
All right, moving on. We have a motion and a second to amend this resolution by Commissioner Sharp and second by Commissioner Mackey, that any proceeds from the sale of this land would go straight back to fund balance. That is a motion and a second. So Madam Clerk, let's take a roll call on the amendment.
No.
Mr. Bowles, would you like to comment on this item? Thank you, sir.
I've been standing there a long time. Gary Bowles, 5812 Mountain Pass Drive in Ottawa. I live in District 9. Of course, this is in benefits District 7 and it's in District 10 for property. But I was interested because I thought the price was high too. There's quite a bit more property that's sold behind me for around $3 million. And I said, gee whiz, this seems like a big difference. However, the property behind me was not very buildable. It was floodplain, steep slope, but they're building anyway. That's another story. But anyway, so I decided to go take a look at it myself and satisfy myself, is the county wasting money or are they not wasting money? So I went and looked at it. I studied on the maps and it's very confusing if you look at the parcels, and I won't get into that, but met with Lee Helton and he, cleared that up for me. So I believe that this part of the county needs that park. I'm anxious to see the green space there, and I'm most interested in seeing it as a place for kids. As someone who has 11 grandchildren, most of which play ball or band or whatever, I was very interested in that. It is very flat, very relatively flat, and shouldn't take much at all to turn it into ball fields, I don't think. So I would kind of like to see the intent to be to sell the parsonage and recoup that approximately $400,000. Of course, I'm not a real estate agent. There's two of you up here that are, so you may know more about it than I do. But I think it's a good thing. I think we should take advantage of it. And often I'm up here saying, don't spend money, but in this case, I think it's worth it. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. All right, with that, no lights, no one standing. Madam Clerk, let's take a roll call on the amendment, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, the amendment passes. So Madam Clerk, let's take a roll call on the item as amended, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-7 passes as amended. Thank you. Madam Clerk, moving on to 826-8, please.
Resolution 826-8, a resolution to authorize the county mayor to enter into and execute an interlocal donation agreement with Hamilton County Parks and Recreation and the City of Chattanooga Department of Parks and Outdoors to provide improvements to Rivermont Park ball fields for an amount not to exceed $19,875.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner Sharp, second by Commissioner Helton. No lights, when standing, roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-8 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-9, please.
Resolution 826-9, a resolution approving the expenditure of funds in the amount of $210,516.07 for the purchase of inclusive play equipment to be donated to the town of Signal Mountain for the Dahlia Playground and Alt House Park in Signal Mountain from Playcorps, Wisconsin Incorporated for the Hamilton County Parks and Recreation Department, and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Baker, second by Commissioner Helton. I have one light, Commissioner Sharp.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I'm just curious, it says bond fund. I thought this was leaning into communities grant, cities grants, not, so this is on top of that? Did we spend the Leaning Into Communities grant on this project also?
Mr. Browner, do you know the answer to that?
Is that what that was for?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Mr. Foles?
It's for the same park, but not for the playgrounds. So
Okay.
the Leading to Communities grant is focused on the bathrooms, sidewalks, engineering. This is focused on the actual playgrounds.
Okay. So then it's, for this playground project, the county's putting 460 into it?
So we're putting the 211 into the playgrounds. The 250 as part of Leading to Communities grant is projects in the park, not for the playground.
Okay. Okay. I got it. Okay. All right.
Good,
Thank you.
sir. All right, no further lights. No one standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-9 passes. But that's the rest of committee of a whole. We go into Public Safety Committee. Commissioner Beck is not here, so we'll continue on. Madam Clerk, 826-10, please.
Resolution 826-10, a resolution approving the purchase of an annual service and support agreement for a term of 5 years for a previously acquired paging system amounting to a total of $101,115.67 from Motorola Solutions, Inc. from Tennessee State Contract SWC 424 for the Office of Emergency Management and authorizing the county mayor to sign any contracts necessary to implement this resolution.
It's will of the commission.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Highlander. All right, someone standing. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander? Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley? Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-10 passes. Madam Clerk, 826-11, please.
Resolution 826-11, a resolution to authorize the county mayor and the sheriff's office to accept a donation in the amount of $2,500 from Mr. Don Clasing, increasing the sheriff's operating budget of revenues and expenditures.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Graham, second by Commissioner Shipley. All right, someone standing. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yes.
Commissioner Chauncey?
Yes.
Commissioner Eversol?
Yes.
Commissioner Graham?
Yes.
Commissioner Helton?
Yes.
Dr. Highlander?
Yes.
Dr. Mackey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Shipley?
Yeah.
Chairman Smith?
Yes, 826-11 passes. That ends our items for this evening. We'll move into announcements. Commissioner Shipley,
No announcement.
Commissioner Baker.
Well, tomorrow's a big day for everyone, so I wish everyone the best and enjoy the nice August, cool weather that we'll be having tomorrow. So we'll all be guaranteed to lose about 10 pounds. Good luck.
Sir, Commissioner Mackey.
Listening to the resolutions today, we dealt with a lot of parks and recreation. And I guess it's in keeping with Chattanooga being the first national park city. Maybe we'll double that. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Sharp.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't know that I have really an announcement, but I want to say, and I know this next agenda coming up, and maybe I'll just say it now instead of then on a couple of items. We are spending a lot of money on parks. We've got some items coming up in this next agenda for some school projects. I'm not really clear on how they came to fruition. But here we are, almost 4 years past the time when this body decided not to build a multi-purpose room for Rivermont Elementary School. And we have no we don't know when there's any relief there in sight right now. I don't know of when the circumstances may be different. And frankly, with my conversations with the school district, growth projections, student population projections, all the carriages and strollers that I see going through my neighborhood, by the time this new school opens, over in that area in District 3, but which will serve District 6 students. That school's going to be at capacity. And as I said before, I don't believe that we will ever be able to close Rivermont Elementary School. And we're spending a lot of money on a lot of things that are great, and we need them. But our core mission in county government is public schools, public safety, public health. And I know I saw a video the other day, a campaign ad saying our kids have waited long enough. We got to do better for them in their schools. Well, we've been sitting here waiting, I don't know, since the day Rivermont Elementary School opened, and have not had an official space adequate for physical education, which is part of the curriculum. So I'm not sure, how we move forward to address that. But my hope is that as we're spending all these dollars for various things across the various districts, that we can come to an agreement that we need to serve these kids at Rivermont Elementary School. Normal math classroom is where we do PE class over there. And it's not acceptable. We've got to do better here in Hamilton County. And I don't have a resolution for any expenditure, but there will be one in the near future. And I know that we had a big debate about this, almost 4 years ago now. And I ended up on the losing side of it. And that's okay. We don't always get what we want. But the children in this county should get what they need. And those kids deserve a gymnasium, a multi-purpose room. And we'll be talking about that in the near future. And gentlemen up here, I hope that you'll be here to support me on that because it is a necessity. And Chairman, that's all I had. Thank you.
You bet, sir. Commissioner Helton.
No comments. Thanks.
Commissioner Chauncey. No. Commissioner Highlander.
Briefly, my grandchildren like to watch superheroes on TV. Let me just say to all the potential voters in this county, your superpower is voting. Please get out and vote. Vote your conscience. Pray if you need to. Think about it. Study the candidates and vote. Also, you all may be getting some what I have too. There have been articles in the Times Free Press and the Chattanoogan about the salaries of the 911 people and some of our ambulance personnel, and saying we're well below some of the people around. When the people call me, I'm saying you need to talk to us, and your supervisors need to talk to us prior to budget season. I said right now our budget's set for this year, but I do think it's important that these 911 people and these paramedics be taken care of, but that will be next budget season. Please exercise your superpower and vote. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Eversole.
And just one thing, and it's at our next meeting in 2 weeks, we will be honoring the Ooltewah Youth Association's 6-year and under softball team that won the World Series. So if you want to see something fun that our Parks and Rec is doing, be here at our next meeting and you'll get to see a bunch of 6-year-olds that won the World Series from Hamilton County. Because I don't think we've ever had a 6-year-old and under team. So, but that's going to be fun and exciting. That's it, Chair.
All right. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Graham.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be brief. Since Superintendent Robertson's here and Justin Witt is here and the chairman of the school board, Mr. Smith, is here, was about to retire on us. But I want to thank them while they're here. And I want to thank this committee. We did something extraordinary in this term with the bond money that we've been able to get to improve schools and the $6 million that we were able to turn into bond money that we got from the state to help directly with maintenance. So between both pots of money, we have done more. I don't know this scientifically. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I feel like we've done more for schools in the last 4 years than have been done in any 4-year period in any given time. And we're not done. I mean, there's still some more of that money to spend, but what I appreciate more than anything is that our school board members and this commission and the administration at the school board, at the schools, we've all been able to work together in harmony to get these projects done in all 11 districts. And to be honest with you, we've always had a reputation of us and them type of thing, or them and us. And I believe that we're working very hard and very positively to eliminate that. And going forward, I think that we can even get a better relationship. So whoever this next commission is, I hope that they can continue building on that relationship, that we can all get along as well as we're getting along now and continue these projects. But also that $250 million of bond money that we did, thanks to Lee and his team, we were able to get that money and keep our AAA bond rating with the top bonding agencies. And really and truly, that vision was brought to us by Mayor Wong. And it was a stretch. We all had a lot of issues with it, but I'm glad that we did it. And I'm glad that what we're doing with it. And I think that it shows in all of our 11 districts on these great projects that we're getting done. So I, for one, want to thank them, but more importantly, I want to thank you all for having the vision and our school board for having the vision, but be able to work together as well as we have in the last 4 years. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Sharp, I see a light.
Chairman, thank you for recognizing me. I would have been mortified if I failed to announce this. And I remembered. Here recently, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm really proud of the Red Bank High School Marching Band. Red Bank High School Marching Band has been selected to perform at the Fiesta Bowl this year, which is a huge honor. That's not something that it's the only school, as I understand it, in the state of Tennessee selected to play in one of these major games. And believe we've got about 75 kids that we have to help find transportation, lodging, and all the works to get out to Arizona. And it's not cheap. So I will be helping with the Red Bank Marching Band to raise funds for that. You can check it out on, thank you. You can check it out on their Facebook page. There's a QR code for the public if anybody's paying attention on the Red Bank High School Marching Band. They have a QR code to raise funds for that. 100% tax deductible, and 100% of it will be going to support the travel costs. Families are pitching in. They're doing everything they can. We had a big powwow about it. They did a performance the other day, preview, which was really good. They're all working hard out here in the heat. So if anybody is interested, I know we talk a lot about sports and football and basketball, but band is what a lot of people want to do. It's not always about sports. And these after-school activities, regardless of what they are, it raises GPAs, it raises attendance rates, and it's great. Matter of fact, my nephew got a full ride to the University of Tennessee playing trumpet in the marching band up there. So it has a big financial opportunity for kids and families as well. So if anybody would like to help with that, we would welcome the contributions. And I'm so proud of them for the hard work they're doing. And Chairman, I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak that again.
Absolutely. Great news, Commissioner. Thank you. Attorney Varnell.
I need to have a extremely brief legal meeting immediately following this meeting. Thanks.
Will do. Thank you. Mayor Want? No announcements? All right. Well, with that, we will move on to the public with any new discussion other than zoning. If you would like to speak, please come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. Start with your name and address for the record. Anybody? Go ahead and start the timer.
Well, thank you, Chair. Thank you for the announcement. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, the man with the $1 trillion voice. Docket number 25C 919, whether you like it or not, Monty Bell versus Jeff Eversole, former county commission chairman. It's past due. It was past due on January the 19th of this year. It was past due, for your record, on February the 2nd of this year. It was past due again on February the 9th of this year. It became past due again on July the 9th, just about 2 weeks ago. This time past due with a modifier called a mandatory duty to transmit your record and submit it to the appeal in court, which is just as corrupt as your trial court. Now, here's the record for July the 9th. Very professionally done and was dated and submitted in Larry Henry's trial court up here. Here's a record from February that was submitted up there. You're looking at a tune of $2,111,034,000,000 for all of you joining forces with the city government and some of these other municipalities in an effort to destroy this Black entrepreneur, Mighty Dwayne Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, the man with the $1 trillion voice. You have an attorney sitting right here. We got a unattractive male from the city.
Mr. Bell, if you're going to stand here and insult people,
I am
you will be
speaking,
removed
sir.
from the mic.
You
I am
can
very
remove me
well
from
you're
the- you can-
speaking, and I'm telling you, you'll speak according to our
Smith,
rules,
you have
or
two-
you'll step out
You
of here.
have 2 felonies at the city council and up here too.
Yeah, I'm, okay.
Yes,
you
you
done?
do. Yes, you do. Please
Thank
don't
you.
touch me, sir. Don't touch me.
You can follow the rules,
You're done.
or you can go. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the commission? All right. With that, with no other business, our regular meeting will be adjourned. We'll be taking a brief break for a legal meeting, and we'll be right back to go into our agenda session. Thank you.
Good job, Karen.